I remember when Bernanke said over a year ago that the mortgage problem was contained and that there would be no spillover into other areas of the economy. And now here we are over a year later, with all of these major financial institutions collapsing and being bailed out. The housing market is still collapsing, credit is frozen, the Dow has been tanking every day, and the auto industry is doing so poorly, they're probably going to collapse by 2009 and then be bailed out by the US government, which wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, shares of General Motors fell as much as 33% on Thursday, which is huge. So they look like they're about ready to go. But Bernanke and Paulson still continue to lie to the American people and say that everything is fine and that the fundamentals are strong. Well, maybe Paulson and Bernanke need to go down to Tent City in LA and tell that to the families who have lost their homes. Maybe they need to go down to New York City and tell that to the small business owner who can't get a loan or make enough money to feed his or her family. We are seeing the final breakdown of the entire US economy, and things have already speeded up since September. Lehman Brothers is gone, along with BOA buying out Merrill Lynch and AIG being taken over. We also saw the largest bank failure in American history when WAMU collapsed. Then it got seized by the FDIC before selling off $307 billion in their banking assets to JP Morgan for $1.9 billion. The ripple effect of just WAMU failing alone was just massive, and it was a low blow to an already dying economy. JP Morgan also bought Bear Stearns for about $1.4 billion, plus another $9 million in stock ahead of the deal to secure it earlier this year, for those who don't remember. Of course, this is an engineered collapse of the entire US economy, so you'll see some similarities between the Bear Stearns and the WAMU deal and the Panic of 1907. In fact, the Panic of 1907 led to important reforms, such as the formation of the Federal Reserve System. So they're getting ready to take over and stamp new regulations on the so-called free market. In fact, this bailout has moved us towards socialism. This bailout was recently passed. But problem, reaction, solution is a favorite tool of the banking system, or the New World Order, whatever you want to call it. They willy up all the small fish in the sea in order to become bigger and more powerful, and eventually all of this will lead to a global financial system and some kind of global currency. Just listen to Paulson and the other bankers speak when they write about this kind of stuff, or when they give their speeches. Just read in between the lines. Anyone could figure that out. But the 50 basis point rate cut that was coordinated with foreign central banks hasn't really done much for the markets. It really hasn't had a positive effect at all. Here we have the G7 meeting, which is full of the same elitist bankers who caused this problem, trying to come up with a solution. So it's kind of hilarious if you think about it. So we are already living under a global financial order. It's just coming out from the shadows to show itself off a little bit. But the end game is a global financial system where the banking system has all of the power and control. This way the New World Order can dictate the rules to foreign governments, which will eventually lead to one world government by force. And now Iceland is pretty much bankrupt. Their government has seized control of their largest banks, and the stock exchange there suspended trading in all shares. So we are already seeing a global crisis, and that has obviously been engineered, and it will lead us into a full-blown new world and financial order, without a doubt. We are already seeing the emergence of a new financial order. On Friday, we saw the markets plunge all over the world. In just one trading day, nearly $900 billion was wiped off of the value of U.S. equities. Don't be fooled by the fake rally in the dollar. Obviously, everyone is hungry for US treasuries and cash, which is driving the TED spread and the LIBOR spread to new historic highs, which means lending between banks have frozen. This is one reason why the dollar is stronger. Not to mention the hundreds of billions of dollars that is being printed to bail out these large financial institutions and prop up the economy with artificial stilts. Once all of this money works its way through the system and gets to you and me where it's worth less, we'll see massive inflation. We will see oil, food, and other commodities shoot back up. This alone will lead to higher unemployment because businesses will be paying more money for food and energy, and that will put us into the deepest recession we have ever seen. We're seeing deflation right now. Oil will probably drop a bit more. In fact, it could hit $70 a barrel before we start to see it shoot back up. But like I said, we are going to see massive inflation because the government will have to resort to printing out hundreds of billions of dollars to bail out everything under the sun. Obviously the dollar should be going down, but like I said, give it time. The long-term trend is downward. Don't get caught up in this fake rally. People are losing confidence, and when confidence and trust is lost, so are the markets. All we heard from Congress and Senate is that if we didn't pass this so-called bailout bill, there would be financial Armageddon. Well, guess what? The bailout made it worse, and it passed, and we're already seeing financial Armageddon. So that was just fear-mongering, so they could get this bill passed to get more powers, so the Fed could get more powers. The Dow has crashed, technically speaking. The Dow has lost over 18% within a week since the so-called bailout was passed. In fact, the Dow is now below 8,000 points. I think we will soon see some kind of fake rally in the Dow, and it could be in a week, it could be in 2 weeks, I don't know, but we will eventually see some kind of fake rally in the Dow, especially with all of this money being injected into the system. However, it could still continue to crash this week, which is a real possibility. We could see it hit 7,000 or even 6,000 or lower this week before going back up. But this crisis is not finished. Another thing the media really isn't talking about, with the exception of maybe CNBC, every now and then, are credit default swaps.